And now for the second point, the consequences of this evil. And here I wish to speak very pointedly and personally to all of you who are professors of religion. And I do hope that you will take every point to yourself in which you must feel that you have been and are guilty. Friends, how often have you and I, in the first place, helped to keep sinners easy in their sin by our inconsistency? Had we been true Christians, the wicked man would often have been pricked to the heart, and his conscience would have convicted him. But having been unfaithful and untrue, he has been able to sleep on quietly without any disturbance from us. Do you not think, my dear brothers and sisters, that you have each been guilty here? That you have often helped to pacify the wicked in their rebellion against God? I must confess myself that I am guilty. I have labored to escape from the sin, but I am not clean delivered from it. I pray each one of you, make a full confession before God. If by your silence, when sin has been committed before your eyes, or by a smile when a lascivious joke has been told in your hearing, or if by a constant indifference to the cause of Christ, you have led sinners to sleep more securely in the bed of their iniquities. But to go further still, do you not think that very often, when the sinner's conscience has been roused, you and I have helped to give it a soporific draught by our coldness of heart? Hush, Master Conscience, says the sinner, but he will not be still, but cries aloud, Repent, repent! And then you, a professing Christian, pass by, and you administer the laudanum draught of your indifference. And the sinner's conscience falls back again into its slumber, and the reproof that might have been useful is entirely lost upon him. I am sure that this is one of the great crying sins of the church, that we are not now the witnesses of God as we should be, but often quiet the witness of conscience in the souls of men. Look now to your lives. I am speaking personally to each one. Look at yesterday, and the days that went before, and I ask you, and I solemnly charge you to answer that question. Have you not often assisted, in the first place, to keep men's consciences quiet, and afterwards to send them to sleep when they have been aroused? Further, is it not possible that often sinners have been strengthened in their sin by you? They were but beginning in iniquity, and had you rebuked with honesty and sincerity by your own holy life, they might have been led to see their folly, and might have ceased from sin. But you have strengthened their hands. They have gone forward confidently, because they have said, See, a church member leads the way. So-and-so is not more scrupulous than I, says such a one. I may do what he does. And so you have helped to strengthen sinners in their sins. Nay, is it not possible that some of you Christians have helped to confirm men in their sins and to destroy their souls? It is a masterpiece of the devil when he can use Christ's own soldiers against Christ. But this he has often done. I have known many a case. Let me tell a story of a minister, one which I believe to be true, and which convicts myself. And therefore I tell it with the hope that it may also waken your consciences and convict you too. There was a young minister once preaching very earnestly in a certain chapel, and he had to walk some 4 or 5 miles to his home along a country road after service. A young man who had been deeply impressed under the sermon requested the privilege of walking with the minister, with an earnest hope that he might get an opportunity of telling out his feelings to him and obtaining some word of guidance or comfort. Instead of that, the young minister all the way along told the most singular tales to those who were with him, causing loud roars of laughter and even relating tales which bordered upon the indecorous. He stopped at a certain house, and this young man with him, and the whole evening was spent in frivolity and foolish talking. Some years after, when the minister had grown old, he was sent for to the bedside of a dying man. He hastened thither with a heart desirous to do good. He was requested to sit down at the bedside, and the dying man, looking at him and regarding him most closely, said to him, "Do you remember preaching in such and such a village on such an occasion?" "I do," said the minister. "I was one of your hearers," said the man, "and I was deeply impressed by the sermon." "Thank God for that," said the minister. "Stop," said the man. "Don't thank God till you have heard the whole story. You will have reason to alter your tone before I have done." The minister changed countenance, but he little guessed what would be the full extent of that man's testimony. Said he, "Sir, do you remember, after you had finished that earnest sermon, I with some others walked home with you? I was sincerely desirous of being led in the right path that night, but I heard you speak in such a strain of levity, and with so much coarseness too, that I went outside the house while you were sitting down to your evening meal. I stamped my foot upon the ground. I said that you were a liar, that Christianity was a falsehood, that if you could pretend to be so earnest about it in the pulpit and then come down and talk like that, the whole thing must be a sham. And I have been an infidel," said he, "a confirmed infidel from that day to this. But I am not an infidel at this moment. I know better. I am dying, and I am about to be damned. And at the bar of God I will lay my damnation to your charge. My blood is on your head." And with a dreadful shriek, and one demoniacal glance at the trembling minister, he shut his eyes and died. Is it not possible that we may have been guilty thus? The bare idea would make the flesh creep on our bones, and yet I think there are few among us who must not say, "That has been my fault after all." But are there not enough traps in which to catch souls without your being made Satan's fowlers to do mischief? Hath not Satan legions enough of devils to murder men without employing you? Are there no hands that may be red with the blood of Saul beside yours? O followers of Christ, O believers in Jesus, will ye serve under the Black Prince? Will ye fight against your master? Will ye drag sinners down to hell? Shall we, I take myself in here more truly than any of you, shall we who profess to preach the gospel of Christ by our conversation injure and destroy men's souls?